Hi, how's it going? So this is everything that my daughter and I read the month of March. I've been kind of continuing with a sort of reading slump the entire 2024, meaning I don't know, I haven't really been there. There really hasn't been one book I've been really excited about. I have like six favorite books that rolled over from 2023. I mean, like of all time. I made a video on those. If I'll link the video if you guys are interested. But so none of the books so far that I've read in 2024 have topped my all-time favorite six. But yeah. Okay. So I was reading David Copperfield forever. I never thought I was gonna finish it, and I did finish it in March. So I finally finished David Copperfield by Dickens. Okay, so basically this is like the definition of like a coming of age book. You follow David pretty much like, from his very young life, the beginning of his life all the way until, I don't know if it's like 30s, like it ends in I don't know exactly what age it ends in, but it's basically like, like as an adult, like not young adult, but kind of like, I'm not sure exactly how old he is when he ends it. If he said it, I definitely forgot. But basically, like, it is like, yeah, like I said, like and I love coming of age stories, but I just thought it had way too many characters. I liked it enough to finish it. I'm a huge, for me in my reading life, if I don't like a book, I don't finish it. I definitely liked it enough to finish it. I didn't love it. I definitely didn't like it more than Great Expectations, which is one of my top six favorite books. So it definitely didn't beat Great Expectations. I'm kind of like on the fence about how I feel about it being tied with Oliver Twist. I didn't absolutely love Oliver Twist either, but I liked it enough to finish it. So my issue with David Copperfield was it was way too many characters for me. Oh my gosh, like they're just like there's a lot of characters that there was some characters that I found interesting, but there was a lot of characters I just felt like it was just too much. Like I just got kind of lost, like and kind of just feeling like not tuned into like what I was reading at all with a lot of the characters. David as a person, I didn't really connect with him. I didn't really connect with him as a character. Like I thought he was likable, but I didn't really like feel that connected with him like I did with Pip in Great Expectations, the main protagonist. And so same thing with Oliver Twist. Like I liked Oliver probably. So I just, yeah, it's just like Dickens, like long passages and long sentences and just like a lot of details, which I love the details. I love the way he writes with detail and things like that. But the coming of age story, like as far as like David's life, it just felt like almost like, because I read autobiographical, and that's what it felt like. It honestly felt like I was reading almost like a autobiographical story of, of Dickens's life in a way. And like there really wasn't, it was very slow, which I don't mind slow paced books, but for me this just felt like really slow. I at times considered not finishing it, but I just kept going. There's something about Dickens that I have a hard time putting down. I think if I DNF'd it in like the first few chapters, I would have been okay with that. But the beginning was very good. I really liked the beginning. Like I really felt his early life very interesting, and I felt it kind of slowed down for me personally in the middle and the end. But let me quit rambling enough. It's a classic, so I'm sure everyone's pretty much familiar with it. Or most people are familiar with it, even if you haven't read it. It's, well known, but I finished it. I'm glad I finished it. I'm kind of proud of myself because there were times when I just felt like I was going to be reading this when I was like 50. And I'm 42. So it's like, I just felt like I wanted to finish it. It was a goal of mine. I did. Okay. I don't really have much to say about it, unfortunately. And that's kind of how I feel like it left me. Also, I added this clip in. I forgot to mention that I am going to be showing our March Literati box at the end of the video. I had to return the books back, so I just I filmed it separately. But yeah, so if you're interested in seeing what she got and what books we decided to keep out of Literati box, stay tuned for the end of the video. Okay, so Next is one of my other, so I still, Dickens is one of my favorite authors, but yet, like, that wasn't my favorite book by him. So Kate DiCamillo is literally my favorite children's author, and this is Ferris. I was really excited. I pre-ordered this book. It's like a real, I would call it an early middle grade novel. It reminds me, if you're familiar with Kate DiCamillo, it reminds me of her other novel, Flora and Ulysses. It has that kind of same quirky vibe. It's kind of centered around a quirky family with this little girl named Ferris who's about to go to 5th grade. And so I think it'd be a perfect novel. If you're like me and you're an adult, then please go for it. But for the age group of young readers, I think it'd be really good for 3rd or 4th graders. But it's because she's about to go to 5th grade, or even 5th graders too. 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade, I would say. But it's realistic fiction, of course, and it's about, like I said, it's quirky family. The grandmother has a central character, which I love. And then the grandmother thinks she sees a ghost. So it kind of has that stuff that, like, is kind of centered around a ghost. And also Ferris's little sister, she's kind of naughty. And it's like the things she gets into that Ferris helps her get out of. Her uncle's also pretty much everyone's like almost quirky, except maybe her mom. Her dad and her mom don't have a huge role in it. It's mostly like her grandmother. But yeah, so it's basically about just like the family dynamics, and also she has like this friend, like a best friend, and it's just like I wouldn't call it coming of age, but like just like the story of a summer. She really cares about her grandmother a lot. It's a lot about that relationship. There's a lot of things in it that are quotable, like all Kate DiCamillo novels about life and love. Love is a theme in the book that's repeated. That every story is a love story. It says it on the back. Every good story is a love story. She uses a lot of repetition in her work. I love that. Also, there's a big focus on Ferris being obsessed with words and vocabulary words. And I think that'd be a really good tie-in if someone wanted to do like a book study with this book for, say, like 3rd, 4th, 5th grade, because you could use the vocabulary words in this book that are mentioned a lot. And the definitions that Ferris brings up, like, oh, this word means this and this word means that. It's very repetitive with that. That's why this book is way more centered around young readers. I think, like, a lot of her books are universal in age, but this one I think would be really appreciated by that kind of 3rd, 4th grade, 5th grade audience. Yeah, and so I enjoyed it. I read it from beginning to end when I got it. I didn't read anything else. I started it, it's a quick read because, it's an early middle grade. But basically, it's just a kind of like a sweet and bittersweet story. It has some things happen in it towards the end that are, like I said, kind of bittersweet. It has like a happy ending. I'm going to say that. But then it's not depressing or sad or anything like that, really. I mean, you kind of understand what's happening with the things I'm talking about. And then, yeah, like the character, like Ferris as a character, she's just kind of like I don't know what I'm trying to say. There's not a huge amount of character development with her because there's so many characters. So it's definitely not it's not my like top 3. I gave it 5 stars, of course, but it's not like my top 3 Kate DiCamillo books. Flora and Ulysses was actually my daughter's favorite book and not mine of her work. So that probably tells you guys that this is definitely meant for like the younger reader. I mean, all of her books are made for the younger reader, but you know what I mean. Like picking up a middle grade as an adult is very much a different experience than picking up a middle, like what the age is made for. So I would say that this one, I would not start here if you never read Kate DiCamillo. I would start with Edward Tulane or The Tale of Despero. Those are my 2 favorite. But I would say like young readers who really like realistic fiction, quirky families would probably like this book. And also, like I said, it has a huge emphasis on vocabulary words. So I think it's like kind of like has this like educational element to it, on top of the fact that it's really great fiction. So yeah. Okay, so talked enough about that. So the next book I read is a reread. It's Anne of Green Gables by L.M. Montgomery. It's a classic. My daughter and I read this as a read aloud in 1st grade. So I forgot. I did watch Anne with an E in the last few years, so that kind of refreshed my memory, but then I really just wanted to see if I connected with L.M. Montgomery's writing, and I really liked it. I really liked the character, her neighbor, Miss Rachel Lynn. Mrs. Rachel Lynn. I really like Marilla. I like Matthew, who are the two people who adopt Anne. And if you haven't read the book, I think adults and young readers would really like this book. And I love a lot of Anne's thoughts about life, and there's a lot of quotable things in this book. She's very much like loves nature and like loves like life, and she's like definitely an extrovert. She has a lot of friends, and almost pretty much everyone loves her. She's kind of a lighthearted character. I don't really connect with her as a character, like as a person. Like like if she were a real person, like we're not anything alike, but I liked like reading about someone very different than me and very like, interesting and things like that. I don't know. But I really liked it. Yeah. And so I'm really happy that I reread it. And then continuing with Ella Montgomery. So this is what I'm currently reading. So those are the 3 books I read in March. And I'm currently reading Anne of Avonlea, the 2nd book in the series. And then I also am trying Mandy by Julie Andrews Edwards. This is also, of course, made for, like middle grade audience in mind. So this one didn't really capture my interest like the first one. I think it's really hard to beat the first book in the series. Like, the first book in the series, I don't know if you can top that. The feeling of being like having the introduction to the characters the first time, getting to know them, like all the things that happen to them, then you kind of like know who they are in this book. So I'm kind of like, it's kind of like going slower for me. I'm not like excited about it. But I definitely am interested in continuing it. This one's like starts where the last one left off, and Anne wants to be a teacher. And so it's really like kind of about that, like the quiet life of her being a teacher. And then I love the scenes of her and Marilla, and then Marilla and Miss Lynn, and then Miss Lynn and Anne. I love the way Miss Lynn talks. She's really good at character development, and each character having a distinct voice. But yeah, so I'm reading that now. And then this one is, I don't know, I just thought it's on a lot of lists for people who like realistic fiction. And I only read 2 chapters, so I'm not sure if I'm going to finish it or not, because I still need a couple more chapters, I think. But it's about another orphan. I love orphans. Mandy, who finds this cottage in the woods, and she wants it to be like her own home. And I'm interested to see how that's gonna go. Like because she borrows things from the orphanage, and I'm gonna see if my interest is gonna get like if it's gonna pique my interest a little bit more reading about that. Like the way it's written is a little like, I don't know how to explain it. Like I don't know, the writing's a little bit like, I really don't know how to describe it. It's not really detailed, and it's not the type, I don't know how to explain. Like I'm really more interested in the plot than I am connecting with the writing styles. Let me just say that. Like that's what I'm trying to say. Like I'm not saying it's bad writing to me. It's just like I'm not really connecting with the way she formulates sentences. I'll just say that the writing's kind of very direct, and I'm not sure if the writing style, if I'm gonna be able to stick with it, but I'm interested in the plot. Like I'm interested to find out how it goes with her finding that little cottage and stuff like that. But it's like a really sweet middle grade, realistic fiction. Okay, you guys, I wanted to show you real quick. These are a new author I discovered. I read all of these, and also, so technically I read more than 3 books, but yeah, like I'm only counting novels, kind of. So I did read all of these, of course, but they're all like picture books and picture books for adults, sort of. This is a new author I discovered, Florence Perry Hyde. And then, so basically I found her because I collect Edward Gorey. So Edward Gorey did the drawings in these 3 books. This is Treehorn's Treasure, The Shrinking of Treehorn, and Treehorn's Wish. So I really connected with her writing while I was discovering and reading and drawn because of Edward Gorey's drawings. So I bought this book used online because it's also by her. And then I checked this one out. Actually, had to request it. My library didn't have it. It's Dillweed's Revenge, A Deadly Dose of Magic by Florence Perry Hyde. It's actually illustrated by Carson Ellis. So these are my favorite by far. I love the Treehorn series. Basically, this kid, Treehorn, it's a character that she developed that so basically everyone ignores him. His family is pretty much horrible. They're horrible. His parents are like horrible people. Kind of reminds me of Matilda, but the boy version. But he kind of reminds me a little bit like of Matilda's situation. Like, because the way his family is. And it's just it's quirky. I'm not surprised she picked Erigori for the illustrator because, like, Erigori does strange books. Basically, it's just all three books are about the life of Treehorn and his parents, pretty much his home life, and how they pretty much ignore him. So in this one, he finds he finds a tree, and so he discovers that a tree in his backyard grows money. So he has all these things that he wants to buy, and then he discovers that this tree grows money. And his parents don't listen to anything he says. Like, you would think you would tell your parents, like, the tree in the back, obviously it's not realistic, but it's like in that world, you would say, like, oh, like, this tree has money or whatever. They don't pay attention to anything he says. And it's kind of like, what does he do with the money that the tree grows? And then, like, the way his parents speak to him, it's just, like, preposterous. Like, it's just, like, so fun and so quirky. Like, his father says money doesn't grow on trees after he tells him that, the leaves on the tree are changing to dollar bills. Like, no one cares to even, like, take in consideration what he says is true. Like, they just pretty much ignore him. And that's, like, the whole series. So that's the first one, The Money Tree. And I don't know if they're in order, but that's like the first one I showed you guys. The second one is like a cute little series. I don't think they're like in order. You don't have to read them in order. The Shrinking of Treehorn. So this one's the first one I read, and I will say this one's the one who stuck with. This one's my favorite one. He literally shrinks, and it's just so weird. I love that. Look at the mid-century black. Look at the way he draws, and oh my gosh, like everything's so cool and like mid-century. Like, this is like an animal he just makes up. Like Erigori, it's such imagination. It's supposed to be like a dog, but it just so Treehorn starts shrinking, and he's like and so the parents don't, it's like how they deal with it is like ridiculous. They don't really care that he's shrinking. And even the way his friends are, I'm not gonna say this word, it's gonna be like I want to call other people in his life. Pretty much everyone are just horrible. And you feel really sorry for him, and he's in these ridiculous situations where he's shrinking. Even his teacher, the principal, every person that he encounters, he's like, I'm shrinking. And they're just like, whatever. It's just so weird. I love it. It's just, oh my gosh, it's so good. So yeah. And then the third one is, that I'm showing you guys, is Treehorn's Wish. These are all ex-library books that I purchased used online from like Thrift Books or Better World Books. And so this one, basically, he discovers a genie. So, it's that, like, traditional tale of, like, the genie, and you get the 3 wishes. And, again, and it's also his birthday. And, of course, you can imagine he doesn't really have a good birthday because his parents don't really care that it's his birthday. And so it's like, what is he going to wish for from the genie? And his birthday, and he's so like laid back, like it's sad, it's like sad almost, like reading it, because like the way he's treated, but he's just like keeps on going, like he's just like little Treehorn, like it's just, yeah. And he's like kind of like you're rooting for him in each book, and it's so weird. Okay, and great. So I really love those. So then I went on to say, well, what else did she write? So she wrote The Problem with Pulsifer. So basically, this is weird. This book is like, it's a weird universe. Same thing reminds me, this reminds me of Matilda also. It's this world. Let me read the back because they probably say it better than me. Every other child in his class is willing to watch hour after hour of television. Sorry if you hear my dog. He's sleeping and he's having dreams. So, every other child in his class is willing to watch hour after hour of television. Why does Pulsifer spend so much time reading books? It isn't because we haven't set a good example, said his mother. We're always watching television, and we've tried to make it easy for him. Color, remote control, even TV dinners. The whole world, his school, his family, his friends are obsessed with TV to the point of like sick obsession where they don't want him reading books. So it's about that. And they even send him to like a therapist that it's like like a therapist at school or whatever, and it's like, again, no, it's like a clown world. It's just ridiculous about everyone being obsessed with TV and just TV, like not a balance, and they don't, so, and he just wants to read. That's all he wants to do is read. So that's what it's about. It doesn't have the charm as the Treehorn books, and I don't know if this is a book I would purchase, to be honest. Like, I purchased it blindly because my library didn't have it. But I think it'd be fun to check out if you're local. I mean, you might be interested in purchasing it for sure if you're interested. But it's definitely not one of my favorite books by her, is what I'm trying to say. But I did buy it. So the next book I did request from the library, this is the darkest, Dillweed's Revenge. This one's like very dark. This one's like very much Erigori-ish, because like they're very similar in the way that they write and stuff like that. The illustrations are beautiful. So this one's about again about she has a thing about horrible parents. This one, Dillweed has really nasty parents. They always go on adventures he wants to go, and they leave him behind, and all he wants to do is go and like out of his house and like do stuff and have fun. He has this weird pet. I don't know what does he call it? Scorpid. I'm not sure if that's just the name of it. So there's this weird pet. I don't know what it is, like an alligator lizard or something. I don't know what it is. Like, of course it's like imaginary, but so his parents like leave him home with like this maid and butler, and they treat him horribly. And it's just like that. Like, what's going to happen? He's kind of getting tired of it. Like, he wants to just like leave his house, and he's really tired of the way everyone treats him and things like that. And they have like some imaginary things that happen. Illustrations are phenomenal. It's like some magic elements in it with this like box, and he wants to do something about the fact that everyone treats him horribly. So it is very dark. I definitely don't say it's for like, I don't know what age, honestly. Like it's a picture book, but it's like very dark, very dark. So yes. I definitely don't see myself purchasing it. I don't like it that much, but like I was glad I read it because I'm really exploring her work. She has a very interesting mind. So I'm not going to tell you guys, but yeah, there definitely is like deadly things that happen in the book. Yeah. Okay, so now I'm going to go over what my daughter read. So she read 11 books, which isn't that your record for in a while? Okay, that's her record of all time. So yeah, and then we don't have all of them because some of them we returned to the library. But basically, it's a lot of series. So some of them are just the same series that we returned to the library. So the first one you read is
Mullen, The Lost Years by T.A. Barron.
These are all middle grade fiction. So what was this book about? Did you like it?
Yes. It was about this boy who washes up on the beach with towels. And he has to set off, like, to find something. I'm not going to say what it is because it might spoil it.
And are you interested in continuing it?
Yes, probably.
You're not sure?
No.
So you didn't like absolutely love it then?
Yeah, not enough to buy it because we don't have it from the library, so.
The library doesn't have it?
No.
We can maybe request it, but
Yeah.
we'll see. Okay, so yeah, she liked it, but she didn't love it. Okay, so the next one is
Vit Vionin, Magnus Chase and the Gods of Asgard.
Is this book 1? So I was
Gold book.
Oh, it's the third. So this is the third. She's continuing this series. And this is just we don't want to spoil the series, but just tell them what the beginning series is about. Like what series as a whole is about.
It's about, well, the first book's about a different thing from the last book.
Oh.
They're all different things, the 3 books. So, I mean, it's YA. It's about...
Oh, it's YA, okay.
Yeah, it's about the gods of Asgard, which is the
Norse gods. Okay, so it's Norse mythology.
I really, really liked it.
So this was, there's 3?
Yes, it's a trilogy.
Trilogy. Okay, so you really, really liked it. Okay. And you really love Rick Riordan.
Yes.
So here's another series she's continuing, and she read book 2 and 3 of
The Menagerie by Literati Sutherland and Corey Sutherland. So all 3 books are about like different things again. They have like different appearances. I mean, they have the same basic thing, like they take place at the menagerie, which is all sorts of magical creatures, and like, but I don't want to spoil it.
But basically, it's like fantasy.
Yes.
And you loved Wings of Fire, so that's why you wanted to try these, because Literati Sutherland wrote Wings of Fire. This one also has dragons in it.
Yes.
Okay. So now another series where she's really working through them.
So the 39 Clues.
So she read book 2 through 7. We returned 7 to the library. And so what's this series about? I know it's like mystery, of course. It's like finding clues.
Well, it's not mystery.
Oh.
It's so basically it's about Dan and Amy, who are 2 siblings, and like it turns out that they're part of a super powerful family, and that if they find all 49 clues, they'll be able to achieve like world power.
And you said there's 11 books in this series?
Yes.
So now you're on book 8. And
9,
she's
actually.
book 9. And yeah, so she's finishing this.
Yes.
Okay, so that's everything that we have. The rest we return to the library. Now I want to show you guys what she's currently reading. So she's currently reading these 2 books. The School for Good and Evil. This is a homeschool independent read. And this is based on like fairy tales, right?
Yes. It's basically where there's these 2 girls, Agatha and Sophie, and there's a school for good and evil, as in the title, and it trains fairy tale villains and fairy tale heroes and heroines, and they get put in the wrong schools. In the book, they're trying to get back into the right school.
Do you think that it's a novel series that you're going to continue?
Probably yes.
Okay.
They do have this in the library, so I've seen it
Okay.
quite a few times.
So then she's also finishing book 9. So, reading book 9 of the same series. So, yeah, you guys, thanks so much for joining us. Hope you enjoyed this video. Please consider giving me a like and subscribing if you haven't already. I'd appreciate it. And if you already are subscribed and like my videos, thanks so much. I deeply appreciate your support.
Bye.
Bye. Okay, so you guys, I'm going to show you. This is March's Literati box, and my daughter, I believe she's like Trailblazer. I'll put it in the description what she is. This video is not sponsored at all. Like, I pay for this myself, but I'll just link the Literati website, but I'll also write what group she's in. But basically it's like she's 11 and you can choose what level you want, but yeah. Okay, so it might even say on here. Okay, so basically they give you like a list. I'm sorry if it's a little dim, it's a little gloomy today, and I have to return this to the post office. I'm going to the post office today. Like 7 days to preview the books and stuff like that. Okay, so this was like the list. And then they always give you these cute little like little book stickers and book plates and other stickers. So that's this month. And they also have this little activity. And then they have like a little miniature poster. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys what we got and then what she's keeping. So basically it's... Sorry, my dog's having a fit right now. If you hear her, I apologize. Okay, she's growling. Okay, so this one I actually never heard of. It's like... I don't even know how to pronounce it. It's like Alebrijes by Donna Barba, Higuera. Higuera. Okay, so I never heard of this book. It apparently... It's like, for 400 years, the world has been a barren wasteland. The few humans that survive scrape together an existence in the cruel city or go it alone in the wilderness beyond, filled with wandering spirits. They don't last long. 13-year-old Lindro. I can't pronounce any of these names. Lindro and his sister Gabby do what they can to forge a life in the city. The city does not take kindly to Casabilis. Oh my gosh, it's like very much like made up world and all these names. So basically, definitely seems like it's like monsters, wasteland, pirates. So my daughter said she is interested in reading this book. It just like, it definitely sounds like all kind of fantasy and magical elements and stuff. So I think it's like middle grade fiction. Okay, so that one she is keeping. And then this is Once There Was. I don't know how to pronounce this. Kiyashmonstef. Monsef. Okay. This one, for a second, my brain shut down completely. I wasn't scared. I wasn't in awe. This is like a writing sample, but let's see. This is also magical elements, like a unicorn, a nomad boy who rescued a baby shirtle. Never. Legends of mythical beasts that filled her with curiosity and wonder. So this one again, very much, very imaginative with like middle grade fantasy elements. But Margin's not a little girl anymore in the wake of her father's sudden death. She's trying to hold it all together. Her friendships, schoolworks, keeping her dad's veterinary practice from going under. Then one day she receives a visitor who is dealing with something stunning. Her father was no ordinary veterinarian. Now she goes into a secret world with magical creatures. So my daughter, this sounds also like something she would like, but she sampled the writing and she said she wasn't interested. So we're going to return this one. And then this one is, show you guys real quick. This is a real Riley Mayas, not sure, by Rachel Elliott. So this is a graphic novel about a 5th grader. And we never heard of this one either. I think this Literati box was very unique for us because we haven't heard of anything else. But this is just about, okay, so Riley is a girl. I don't know, did I say he? Okay, so Riley, her one friend moved away. All she wants to do and draw, and her grades show it. It's basically about school and this girl named Riley who's in school and all about like school stuff and friendship. So my daughter said she wasn't interested in this particular one. And then this one is the graphic novel of Keeper of the Lost Cities by Shannon Messenger. Now my daughter, this is one of her favorite series of all time, but she wasn't interested in the graphic novel version. She read the entire Keeper of the Lost Cities series. And so since she already read it, we're passing on this one. And so the last one she is deciding to keep also. So we're going to keep 2 books. We're going to buy 2 books and send the rest back. Enchanter's Child, Book 1, Twilight Hauntings by Angie Sage. So this one seems like it has like 4 different main characters. Alex has a set of enchanted cards. When she flutters her fingers above them, the cards come alive. So very magical. The cards come alive and create moving pictures of what is now and what is yet to come. But enhancement is illegal in the city of Luma, and those who practice it are imprisoned forever. When Alex is betrayed by her foster sister, she makes a daring escape, but soon discovers she's not safe outside Luma either. So yeah, it sounds like it has some magical elements and has some like adventure elements to it. So she said she likes the writing from what she sampled, and she wants to try this middle grade. So yeah, so she's keeping 2, and yeah, so that's that for our March Literati.